Two engines are a disaster. They stripped away safety systems, and now engines are catching fire. Fuel lines are cracking. Two ships, gone. But here's the bombshell. Elon vanished from Starbase right when his team needed him most. Morale collapsed. Engineers burned out. Ship 35 is getting tested for the third time because nothing's working. Flight 9 isn't just another launch. It's SpaceX's last chance to prove they didn't just build a $3 billion explosion machine. The real question? Can they fix this engine nightmare before everything falls apart? Let's dive right in. Right now, as we speak, Ship 35 is undergoing its third round of static fire testing. Let that sink in for a moment. Most Starships get one test, maybe two if they're lucky. But 3 tests? That's not optimization. That's desperation. Here's what really happened. First test looked promising. Single engine burn, clean. 6 engine burn, successful. Every engineer at Starbase thought they'd nailed it. Then came the second test, and that's when everything fell apart. One of the vacuum engines didn't just fail, it failed spectacularly. We're talking complete catastrophic failure that forced SpaceX to do something they hate doing, admit defeat. Ship 35 got hauled back to Mega Bay 2. Engineers ripped out the damaged engine like surgeons removing a tumor. Started over from scratch. But here's what should terrify you. This isn't just bad luck. This is a pattern. Booster B-14, already positioned at the launch pad, ready to make history, had to make the walk of shame back to the production facility. Think about that image. A massive rocket, tens of millions of dollars of engineering, sitting pretty at the launch pad. And SpaceX says, nope, bring it back. The rumor mill is spinning wild theories. Engine problems, grid fin issues, hot staging ring failures. But the real question nobody's asking is this. Why are these problems happening now? Why are SpaceX's most experienced engineers, the same team that landed boosters on drone ships, suddenly struggling with basic rocket reliability? The answer will shock you. SpaceX made a bet, a huge bet, and it's blowing up in their faces. Here's the deal. To make Starship 5 lighter and more efficient, they did something that would make any safety engineer have nightmares. They stripped away critical engine protection systems. Imagine removing the airbags from a Formula One car to save weight. Sure, you'll go faster. But when you crash, and you will crash, there's nothing to save you. Flight 8 showed us exactly what happens when you remove those safety nets. A vacuum engine literally caught fire. Not a controlled burn, not a planned shutdown. An actual, uncontrolled, catastrophic fire that painted the sky with destruction. The engine burned like a Roman candle as Ship 30 tumbled toward Earth. But here's what SpaceX didn't expect. Something called harmonic response, and it's the silent killer that's been stalking every V2 flight. Picture this scenario. You're at a fancy restaurant. The opera singer hits that perfect high note. The wine glass on your table starts vibrating, then crack. It shatters into 1,000 pieces. That's harmonic response. The right frequency, at the right time, can destroy anything. Now imagine that happening inside a rocket engine, at 17,000 miles per hour, in the vacuum of space. The new V2 engine configuration creates vibrations that travel through the rocket like deadly music. Fuel lines start cracking, seals begin failing. Components that should last for entire missions are breaking apart in minutes. It's like tuning a guitar string too tight. Everything sounds perfect, until snap. The string breaks and ruins the entire performance. But here's the terrifying part. This isn't just theory. Multiple sources inside SpaceX confirm that both Ship 28 and Ship 30 failed due to these resonance issues. 2 consecutive failures, millions of dollars lost, years of progress wasted, all because vibrations are tearing apart rockets from the inside out. And now Ship 35, the rocket that's supposed to save SpaceX's reputation, is facing the exact same demons. But the story gets worse. While SpaceX engineers are pulling 16-hour days trying to fix these technical nightmares, their biggest source of inspiration has been nowhere to be found. Elon Musk, the man who built SpaceX's culture of impossible dreams and rapid iteration. The guy who used to sleep on the factory floor during crunch time. The leader who turned rocket science into an art form. He's been MIA from Starbase. His attention? Scattered across the Department of Government Efficiency, managing X's chaos, pushing Neuralink's boundaries, fighting political battles in Washington, D.C., everywhere except where his rocket company needs him most. Dylan Small, a Starbase employee, didn't sugarcoat the situation when he posted on X. The team is giving everything they have, but the atmosphere has shifted. Morale is low. People are burned out and starting to feel like they're being left behind. Let that sink in. The most innovative aerospace company in history is losing its edge because their leader checked out during the most critical moment in Starship's development. Think about the timing. Technical failures mounting daily. Testing schedules slipping by weeks. Launch dates pushing further into uncertainty. And the one person who usually rallies the troops during crisis moments? He's giving speeches about government efficiency instead of fixing rockets. The impact is devastating. Internal sources report weakened leadership oversight, poor decision-making at critical moments, cost-saving suggestions ignored. The SpaceX culture that once thrived on pushing boundaries is cracking under bureaucracy and fading inspiration. Engineers who used to work miracles are now just working. The magic is gone. But then, just when things look darkest, Musk dropped a bombshell on X. I will be there next week. But this isn't just a casual visit. This isn't a photo op or a morale boost. He's planning something big, a company-wide presentation at Starbase, before Flight 9, where he'll unveil SpaceX's updated Mars roadmap. The question burning through Starbase right now: will it be enough to reignite the team's passion? Or is this too little, too late? Because while leadership drama unfolds in the boardrooms, the technical challenges keep mounting in the test bays. Let's talk about what Ship 35 is really facing. This isn't just another test flight. This is a technological gauntlet that would make NASA engineers break out in cold sweats. Challenge number 1, in-space engine relight. Sounds simple? Think again. Engines that work perfectly on Earth become temperamental beasts in space. Fuel doesn't flow the same way in zero gravity. Combustion chambers respond differently in vacuum. Ignition sequences that work flawlessly on the test stand can fail catastrophically in orbit. And with V2's reduced safety margins, there's almost zero room for error. Challenge number 2, payload deployment. Here's a dirty secret. SpaceX has never successfully deployed a payload from Starship in flight. Not once. They're literally testing this system for the first time on a mission that's already pushing every limit of their engineering capabilities. It's like trying to juggle flaming torches while riding a unicycle on a tightrope, blindfolded. Challenge number 3, atmospheric re-entry with completely untested systems, new heat shield tiles, redesigned flaps, modified thermal protection systems, all untested under real flight conditions. Previous flights deliberately left some tiles off to test the limits. They installed experimental metallic heat shielding. They're essentially turning every Starship into a flying laboratory. The problem? Laboratories sometimes explode. But here's what's really keeping SpaceX engineers awake at night. Remember how both Ship 28 and Ship 30 failed after seemingly successful hot staging sequences? Here's a theory that's gaining serious traction inside SpaceX, and it's terrifying. The problem might not be with the ships themselves. The problem might be with hot staging. When the upper stage engines ignite while still attached to the booster, they create massive vibrational forces. These aren't gentle vibrations. We're talking about seismic level shaking that travels through the entire rocket structure. Think of it like hitting a giant bell with a sledgehammer. The initial strike seems harmless, but the vibrations continue long after, resonating through metal, cracking welds, loosening connections. Components that seem fine immediately after hot staging are actually damaged. They don't fail right away. They wait, they weaken, and then, minutes later, when the ship is flying solo through space, they catastrophically fail. It's like a time bomb built into every flight. SpaceX clearly believes this theory. They're modifying B-14's hot staging ring for Flight 9. They've publicly revealed a completely redesigned hot staging system for Starship V3. But that raises a terrifying question. If hot staging has been causing ship failures all along, how many successful missions were actually ticking time bombs? How many rockets are flying around with hidden damage, waiting to fail? Flight 9 isn't just another test flight. It's not even just another Starship mission. This is SpaceX's reputation on the line. This is Elon's legacy in the balance. This is the difference between Mars colonization and a $3 billion pile of scrap metal. NASA is watching. The Artemis program, America's return to the moon, depends on Starship working. Not eventually, not someday, now. The Pentagon has contracts worth billions riding on successful flights. Private customers are holding their breath. Investors are questioning whether they back the right horse. And then there's Mars, the ultimate goal. The reason SpaceX exists, every failure pushes that timeline further into uncertainty. Every explosion makes the red planet seem more like a red herring. But here's the thing that should genuinely concern everyone watching this unfold. Even if Ship 35 passes all its ground tests, even if the static fires go perfectly, even if every single system checks out with flying colors, the last two missions also pass their pre-flight checkouts. Ground testing can't replicate the chaos of actual flight. The unexpected vibrations, the thermal stresses, the complex interactions between systems that only happen when you're screaming through space at 17,000 miles per hour. Every rocket that's exploded passed its ground tests first. So here we are. Ship 35 preparing for its third static fire test. Engineers working around the clock. Elon promising to return and rally the troops. The entire aerospace industry holding its breath. But can 3 static fires fix what 2 mission failures couldn't reveal? Can SpaceX's legendary engineering culture recover from months of technical setbacks and leadership absence? Can they solve the V2 engine disaster before it destroys everything they've built? And most importantly, is Flight 9 the mission that saves Starship's future? Or the one that forces SpaceX to admit their V2 gamble was the most expensive mistake in aerospace history? The answer will determine whether humanity reaches Mars in this decade or if we're stuck on Earth for another generation. So here's where we stand. SpaceX bet everything on V2, stripped away safety systems, gambled with harmonic resonance, and now they're paying the price. 3 static fire tests, 2 mission failures, 1 leader who disappeared when his team needed him most. But here's what makes this story fascinating. Every great breakthrough in human history started with failure. The Wright brothers crashed dozens of times before they flew. Apollo 1 tragedy led to the moon landing. Sometimes you have to break things to build something extraordinary. The question isn't whether SpaceX will fail again. The question is whether they'll learn fast enough to beat their competition to Mars. Because while we're focused on Starship's struggles, China's launching rockets monthly. Blue Origin is catching up. NASA's Artemis program is waiting. The space race isn't pausing for SpaceX to figure this out. What do you think? Is this V2 crisis the beginning of the end, or exactly the wake-up call SpaceX needed? Drop your predictions in the comments. Are you Team SpaceX or Team Competition? And if you're as obsessed with space drama as we are, there's way more coming. The Mars timeline just got messier, and we'll be covering every twist. The future of humanity's next planet hangs in the balance.